But you're not that quiet because I know one of you because I am one of you. Sit there and watch my television, want to throw the remote control at the TV sometimes, listen to the radio, scream at what I hear on the radio, scream at some of the news stories, look at the newspaper, throw it down in disgust. But you think you're the only one. Before I took this job, I thought I was the only one. I would just get so frustrated because it seemed like I was out of touch. But as conservatives, we have just kind of gone along to get along too much. And we haven't opened up our voices. We haven't opened up our hearts. We haven't said what's on our mind because we're afraid of, well, we're going to get canceled or we're going to offend somebody. So that's why when I was over at the, well, let me get, is that, I got Ron on line one. All right, let me put Ron on line one. Hey, Ron. There you are. Hey, Ron, welcome. You're on WRVA. Hello.
How you doing this morning?
I'm good. All right. So, Ron, let me share something with you. So I'm standing there at the Smithsonian this weekend, right? And the reports you saw about the Smithsonian being so woke is 100% correct. And I see all these people over there, and they're just trashing the president, trashing Republicans. They're just running their mouths like they have no fear in the world that anyone's going to check them. And as a Republican, as a conservative, I think we've been afraid to say anything because the second you offend somebody, they're going to come after you. I want to hear Republicans, and I want to help empower Republicans and conservatives to actually have their voice that we've given up over the last 5-10 years. So I'm glad that you called this morning. So the big question we have this morning is, we see the rise of these democratic socialists, these Marxists. Why do you think they're getting such a foothold right now in this weed that is going to be poisonous to America, is actually gaining roots and getting stronger? Why do you think that is?
I don't think some of them have, I don't know if it's called mentality or the tools to understand exactly what everything's going on. They're just jumping on a group just to be, the cool thing, or
right.
Or I'm not sure if I really understand the question, and I'm not good at explaining myself.
No, let's take our time. So right now, as you see, this idea of Marxism, communism, it's growing, and it's gaining popularity amongst people under the age of 30. Why do you think that is?
Because I don't think they actually know any better. They hear what they hear on the news.
Yeah.
And in Virginia, we only hear one side. I just think they ought to be sent to one of these countries that live like that for 3 months and see if it doesn't give them something to look at.
So I had somebody send me a text message earlier, like, if they love communists so much, go send them over to Cuba. Here's the deal, Ron. They don't want to go live in Cuba. They want to bring that Cuban-style government, that great socialist utopia, they want to bring it here to Richmond and to Chester and to Hanover and to the Commonwealth of Virginia. They want us to live under what their idea of a utopian communist Marxist society is, and they're serious about it. They don't want to go somewhere else. They want to transform what we have here in the United States into what they think the world should be, their utopian fantasy.
Well, let them live the way they want to live, and let the rest of us live the way we want to live, and eventually they'll probably switch on over after they figure out, hey, I worked all week, but how come I got to pay for this guy's this and this person's that? I made this money; it should be mine.
See, they think they should be able to take it from you.
Oh, I know this, and they didn't work. Half of them don't work, so they really don't care. They want all that free stuff.
You make a great point. Hey, Ron, go ahead.
I got one thing I want to hit on. It's a little off the subject, kind of, but it really bothers me because I try to get a hold of you guys when other things are up, but I can't. But one thing that really bothers me is when they put boots on the ground, they're putting our children at risk.
Okay.
Putting our soldiers at risk. Or, you got firefighters that run into buildings putting their life at risk, and no one says anything about it. You got rescue squads that jump out in the middle of the ocean or in the middle of the river to save somebody because they need help, and there's no questions asked. But when the military people do it, and this is what they signed up for, they just signed up for the free ride. Some of them may have, but they signed up knowing somewhere along the line that they may have to get into something like this.
They may. Okay, so here's the difference, and here's the difference. I'll frame this up for you. because I come from, I laugh. I told somebody this weekend that I come from a family of either cops, cowboys, or crooks, right? In my family, we were either got in trouble, we were police officers, we were cowboys. So I understand the first responder. My dad was a fireman for just a little bit, and he was a police officer his entire career. I have a son who wants to go in the military. I think they're all heroes, Ron. I think if you sign up to be a police officer, you know, guaranteed every day, you're going to be there in put yourself in harm's way every time you step out the door. Okay. Fireman, same thing. Every time my dad went to work, he knew that he was going to put himself in harm's way as a fireman. If you sign up for the military, we decide whether you're going to be put in harm's way by the civilians that run the military. And when a police officer goes and he puts himself in peril, he puts himself in a situation where he's in danger. When we send the military at the behest of the U.S. government, we put them out there to kill someone or to be killed. It's a little bit of a different choice whether we send someone. They train all the time, they do all the rest of that. They're all heroes because they volunteer to step up for it. But there's a difference between answering the call of someone who's in peril as a fireman or a police officer, or there's a conscious effort to send someone into harm's way to go fight and possibly die as the result of that.
That you're true on that, but it is what they signed up for. It's a possibility.
It's a possibility, but here's the difference. Police officer answers the call when 911 comes. Military sent when our politicians send them into harm's way. There's a conscious effort for one. The other is just a constant. I don't think it belittles either one. Honestly, I don't think it belittles either one. I think we appreciate I hope we appreciate our first responders. I hope we appreciate our police, and I hope we appreciate our military. And I know the respect amongst those folks that volunteered to be that thin blue line, to be those firefighters, to be the military. They all understand what they signed up for. And that's why I'll tell you this, they're a lot braver than I am. All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Let me go to Gary on line 2. Gary, welcome. You're on the 933 experiment. Welcome to WRVA.
Thank you.
What's going on, Gary?
Thank you. Hey, I think all these protesters are being, they're being paid. Nobody would be out there doing all that stupid stuff if they weren't being paid. Soros.
Well, there's some organizers that 100% are being paid. I've told you this. I've gone down to City Hall. I go down to Capitol Square. I go to D.C. I see the same people. They just change the T-shirt. Those are the ones that are being paid. But there's more than just that. You don't get Zoran Mamdani. You don't get AOC. You don't get Bernie Sanders. You don't get Graham Planter from just people being paid. There's more than that.
Well, when you say free stuff, and they're obviously they don't understand. They don't care. It's just about me, I think. Me.
So how do we rate? Okay, I've got a 25-year-old son. I see his friends. How did we? I'm Gen X. How did we raise kids that are embracing this kind of nonsense and having that kind of entitlement that they think they should they deserve all this free stuff?
I wish I had the answer. So,
I think I have the answer.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this with you, Gary, because I think I know. You ready?
Okay.
Okay, so I grew up, I was poor, but we certainly weren't rich. I never thought about college. I honestly, the only reason I went to college is my dad came to me the week of graduation and said, "What are you going to do next?" I go, "I don't know." He goes, "Well, either you got to get a job or you got to go to school." I said, "I guess I'll go to school." And he goes, "Which school do you want to go to?" Everybody I went to high school with, I didn't want to hang out with anymore. I went to the junior college, so I went to the 4-year school, which was probably the worst academic education anybody could find. It wasn't that hard to get in, and that's why I went to college. I didn't expect anything. I wasn't entitled to anything. When my son goes to high school, we sent him to a private Catholic school because he wanted to go to a service academy, and we knew he had to have good grades and a good education in order to try to compete to get into one of the service academies. But what I also saw, and it was, Gary, I tell you, it was expensive. It broke me to send him to that school.
Oh, I'm sure it was. Yeah.
But I saw all those kids that got into Cal and Stanford. They got into UVA. They got into all these prestigious schools. And it was rather amazing that the second they got that letter as a 17-year-old and they put on that sweatshirt that said Stanford University or NYU, they thought, boom, I've already won the lottery. And they expected their life to be perfect. They expected, I did all my work as a 15-year-old to have the grades to get into NYU, to get into Stanford, to get into UVA. I see it when you go to Williamsburg, you see these kids who got into William and Mary, and they think they've already achieved everything that they needed to achieve, and now they should be given the reward for having that college degree. So they think if I worked my tail off, the promise was go to a great school, graduate, and then I'm going to be entitled to a great job and live an amazing lifestyle. And what they found out is I got into NYU, I got into UVA, got into William and Mary, and I graduated, and there is no guarantee in life. And now they're offended. Now they're upset. Now they think that capitalism ripped them off because they were promised, hey, all you got to do is bust your butt in high school, get into that college, and you've got it made in the shade. There is no such thing as a free lunch, and that's why they're leaning into this communism thing, because they were sold a bill of goods that I don't know how they got sold this bill of goods other than we told them that, and now they expect to have everything given to them on a silver platter because they think they've already achieved everything at the age of 16, getting early enrollment to UVA.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a boomer, okay? And I'm the 99 kids. Now, we had a farm. We had to raise our own stuff, our cows. We had them slaughtered and all that kind of stuff. So I worked in the fields. All I wanted when I was 18 is go get a job and get a car.
Right. Okay. Stop for a second, Gary. Do you know now kids don't want to have a car? They don't want their driver's license at 16. They're more comfortable having someone drive them around Uber Eats, DoorDash, or mom and dad driving around. They don't even think that they need to earn that driver's license to get a car. They'd rather just have someone drive them around. That's a sense of entitlement we're talking about.
Yeah, well, I went and got a job at state. Okay, 2 years. Then I went in the Navy. 4 years. I came back. They held my job, and I retired with 42 years of service. I'm okay. You know, got a good retirement.
Right.
So, got a good wife, got a nice house, paid for. You know, we worked for it.
What were you entitled to?
What was I entitled to?
Yeah.
Not a thing.
So when you see these kids out there protesting, and you see these kids out there, I mean, you listen to that woman. Hey, do you have that soundbite, Dave? Can we play that for Gary? She sounds so entitled that she should just get all of these things. Listen to this woman that was on Fox News Sunday with Shannon Bream. She's the co-chairman of the Democratic Socialists of America. Listen to how entitled she thinks she is to what she wants and what she demands. Just take a listen to this for a second, Gary.
Okay, so we're going to put up on the screen a few of the things that are part of your platform, and I want to ask you, just give me sort of a true or false on these. Abolish the Senate.
True.
Okay, replace the presidency and Supreme Court as we now know them.
Yep.
Abolish ICE.
Absolutely.
Abolish borders and give amnesty to anyone currently in the U.S. illegally.
As a long-term plan, yep.
Defund the Pentagon.
Absolutely.
Abolish prisons, at least in large part.
Yeah, again, that as part of a long-term program, yeah.
Okay, so no prisons. Government or public ownership of most large corporations.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you listen to how entitled she is that absolutely the world should be remade into what I think it should be, Gary, not what the world is. It's like we owe her something, and she gets to decide what the rest of us are going to do.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we boomers raised our kids, and some of us tried to be friends to them, and we gave them a lot of stuff. And maybe the next generation or the next ones that came after that, they are really, it's sad. It's sad. They don't pay attention. Well, there's no history. No history is taught.
Right. Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I think you're right about the boomers. Because the boomers' parents were the greatest generation, but that generation came back after World War II, and they lived through the Depression, and they had a hard scrabble life, and they were tough on their kids. And then the boomers came in like, I don't think I necessarily want to be as hard as my dad was, who was a veteran, who who skimped and saved and didn't enjoy anything and just lived a miserable life. I don't want to be like that. So they become a little bit more permissive with their kids. Then my generation comes in afterwards of Gen X, and all of a sudden kids are getting participation trophies. And I'm not raising my kid. I want to be friends with him. I told my son, he goes, "Hey, Dad, are we friends?" I go, "No, we can be pals. I'll support you, but I'm not your friend. My job here is to raise you to make the right decisions and be a good member of society. I'm not here to be your friend. Later, as you get to be an adult, maybe we'll be friends. But right now, I got a job, and that's to raise you and teach you right from wrong." And I don't know a lot of people that have done that lately with these kids, and that's why they think they're entitled to everything.
Oh, yeah. You're absolutely right. All you got to do is watch a bird in a birdhouse. They raise their kids, and they try to get out. They stick their nose out of the house. Go fly. You're on your own. It's that simple.
Well, I just saw something. I just saw something that more kids have moved back in. Like I had to move in, and I got to let you go. Great call, Gary. Great call. More kids are moving back in with their parents. More kids are. I moved away and had to move back home, and I know I went through that, but I couldn't wait to get back out on my own again. These kids are coming home because life is too tough. The real world is too tough. I don't want to do this anymore. That's why we have these kids that are turning towards a nanny state that will take care of them, not knowing that there's a cost to go along with that. Interesting conversation. We'll continue this, and I've got a ton of text messages. We had so many phone calls I didn't get to them, but I'm going to read all of them, and I've kind of perused most of them. It is something that I think we need to address. All right, that's going to do it for the program for today. Let me remind everybody, our national anthem is brought to you by Freedom Services and Training, the biggest little gun store in town, located in Mechanicsville. All right, 9:51 this morning. We'll be back tomorrow morning. I think
1 minute.
We'll catch back up with Tom Garrett, member of the House of Delegates. I have a whole bunch of stuff planned for you for tomorrow's program. It's nice to be back from vacation. One more time, reminder, if you're a golfer or you want to support our fundraiser for Tunnel to Towers, please go to WRVA.com/golf, WRVA.com/golf. Again, a big shout out to my friends at Veteran Fire Protection. I went and met with those guys, had lunch with them. They're great. I appreciate them stepping up for this moment as we raise money for Tunnel to Towers. And I got a whole bunch of other stuff that I worked on while I was gone. We're going to have some pretty cool events coming up this fall. All right, that's it for this show. Thanks to Gary Hess and Super Dave. Don't forget, you can always find me on social media. We'll have clips of the show, Rich for America or News Radio WRVA on social media. And you can always find me on my website. Send me an email, richforamerica, rich4america.com. So we'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. There's a reason I get up early. It's because I believe in this country and I believe in my family. That's what we're standing up for. It's News Radio WRVA.
Please stand for the national anthem of the United States of America.